Alright, welcome back campers. Right, so I'm on a 2-day hike going out to the grasslands to stay with a nomadic family, a Tibetan family. The weather is not great, but it's alright actually. Been walking probably about 5 kilometers so far out of Langmusi. I'm probably going to be about a 20-25k walk today, and then I'm going to hopefully get to see a little bit about what nomadic life is like. Remember, this is the good time of year, by the way. I wouldn't want to be here in the winter. The first day's walking took me from the monastery town of Langmusi through the local nomads' winter grazing spot and to their current summer campground. Our lunch stop was nice and simple and a much needed break from the rain. That's yak manure, by the way, dried and used as fuel to keep the stove going. Tibetan tent life revolves around the stove. Never have the soles of your feet pointing towards it and never walk behind it. 2 big no-nos in nomadic culture. Although it's something I wouldn't normally do, I had a guide with me for this, a local lad called Rendan. A guide is quite necessary, as they of course know the nomads well, and as everyone in town told me, they know how to deal with the Tibetan mastiffs, huge dogs kept by the nomads, which are famed for their ferocity. The nomads use them to protect their herds from wolves or thieves. The walk continued for some time, but finally some tents appeared on the horizon and we arrived at our destination. No people in sight, just 3 big angry dogs. Alright, so we just got to our abode tonight. Rendan is just sorting out the fire. He also fought off a dog to get in the tent, which was absolutely terrifying. Yep, that's a huge box full of yak manure. Oh. And I guess this is where I'll be sleeping tonight. Nice and warm. The tent is made of yak hair, and apparently they're good for about 20 years, which is pretty crazy. They are famously leaky though, and it is pouring down outside, so let's see how it goes tonight. The nomads are yak herders and move camp every 40 or so days. Around 60 families live in this area and rotate between different seasonal grasslands so as to limit overgrazing. The evening passed by in the tent out of the rain. Lots of tea was drank and we had a nice vegetable stew just before bed. Guys, had a pretty interesting night. It's time for bed now. It's about 11 o'clock. Just eaten very late. It's cold. It's going to be a cold night, I think. Yeah, I'll let you know all about it tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather will be a little bit better tomorrow. We'll see. Alright, good night. Still guarded by our fearless mastiff, the next day began, again in pretty terrible weather. It's a very traditional life of strict routine. The women wake at sunrise to milk the yak before the men drive them out to graze, every single day. The weather actually picked up a little bit later that day, so here I am. Alright, so let me bring you up to speed a little bit. We left the tent about an hour ago, and then on the way there was a local guy whose truck was stuck in the mud, so we helped him get that out, and then he gave us a lift a little bit. Probably like an hour, maybe an hour off our walk today. Yeah, I didn't film much yesterday, largely because the weather was really bad. It's a little bit better today. It's still not great, but it's, you know, it's not raining, so that's good. Had a very interesting night, you know. Perhaps the most famous Tibetan food is this thing called zangba, something like that, zangba, yeah. And I had it this morning and made it myself, because you make it basically with your hand. So you need butter, barley flour, some hot water, boiling water, and that's about it. You can put other things in if you want it, like a bit of garlic maybe, and then you put it in the bowl and you mix it around into essentially just a dough ball, and then you eat it. Now, honestly, it wasn't for me. I finished it. It was difficult because it's like a tennis ball size lump of dough which tastes of nothing. It's super dry as well, but you know, I powered through, finished it all. But these guys in there, Renda said the same, my guide, even he, they eat it every single day, every day. So yeah, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that yesterday was this amazing adventure and it was wonderful. Actually, to be honest, it wasn't really enjoyable. The walk certainly wasn't enjoyable at all because it was just grim, mainly on like kind of a road, and the weather was pretty shit. When we got to the tent, it was obviously, it was nice and warm, which is good, and we had some good food, and the couple were really lovely and all that kind of stuff. So that was nice, and it was very interesting actually. To be honest, I learned a lot because they were very happy to tell me a lot about their life. You know, this is the good time for these nomads, July, August. They told me that they get 6 months of snow a year, and it can be down to about -25, which is brutal. And to be honest, even in the summer, the weather's pretty crap. I mean, the altitude where we stayed, it was about 4,000 meters. Hence, I'm struggling with my breath, as you can probably tell. It's quite difficult walking and talking at 4,000 meters. But yeah, it was, God, what a tough life, you know, like seriously tough life. It certainly hasn't made me want to, you know, take up a nomadic life in Tibetan culture, in Tibetan nomadic culture. The woman, the wife, would stay close to the tent and do anything that's nearby the tent, basically, whether that's cleaning or cooking or milking the cows. Actually, by all accounts, as I was told, the women actually do the vast majority of the work in nomadic culture. The men are responsible for taking out the cattle and driving them back in. And that's it apparently, which is still hard work, of course, but yeah, the women have it tougher, I think. The men apparently tend to go into the town, into Langmusi, just like hang out for a while and drink some tea. My guide, who's just in front of me, Renda, I don't want to put the camera in his face. He's been an absolute legend. He knows his stuff. He's been telling me all about the local flora and fauna, and he is Tibetan himself, although not a nomad. He lives in the town in Langmusi, and he's a university student in Lanzhou. Really good guy. yeah, knows his stuff. He's made this whole thing very enjoyable, actually. Especially yesterday, which I think without him, if it was just me walking by myself, to be honest, I would have turned back. That's a serious view. Right, we've just climbed pretty high up in the mountains, and I can see the road that we're going to the other way, that way. We're going to try and get a car back into Langmusi. So, sorry, it's just been a bit of a probably disjointed video. That things don't always go as planned, especially when the weather's concerned. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and it's been fascinating. I think I need a bit of time to kind of get my head around it, and I really need a coffee and a hot shower. So until next time, I'll see you later. Take care. Bye bye.